Hello everyone, welcome to Angela Avalon's YouTube channel. I'm Angela. Subscribe, leave a like, and like this video, and do leave me your feedback at the end of the video, please, and tell me if this resonated with you guys. So this video, I'm going to talk about Moon in the 12th house synastry. Now, I already have one video of, I already have a video of this placement up in my channel. However, this, I want to say, is just going to be a better version of that video. So I'm not even going to title it a part 2. I'm just going to title it Moon in the 12th house in synastry. And with that being said, feel free to watch the other videos, or I'm going to still keep it up on my channel. So, with all that being said, let's get into it. Moon in the 12th house in synastry. I actually currently am healing of a Moon in the 12th house overlay connection, situationship. And I think that's a good place to start. This overlay is very much gives and manifests in situationship vibes. Okay, one of the reasons it's because this is a very this is an overlay that causes much confusion. Okay, there's a lot of feelings of confusion involved, feelings of confusion, deceit, dishonesty, illusion, disillusionment, mostly fantasy, daydreaming, lots of daydreaming, and yeah, it's I also could mention the classical key words associated with the 12th house, self-undoing, and well, even the words I mentioned that are also known as keywords with the 12th house. But I really want to use this video to really say everything, especially that I'm talking from experience. And in this video I might even tell my own story. Either way, I'm gonna really use my own words and not much of astrological language, at least I'm gonna use my own astrological language. Okay, so if you're a beginner, because a lot of people comment on my videos, some people I would get comments from beginners and they would be asking me questions of that I can tell they just started being into astrology or just started studying astrology. Just if you have any questions, just leave me them down below. I'll answer them, because I just feel I really am passionate about this and I really wanna get into this placement, because I have a moon in Gemini and I tend to be all over the place in my videos sometimes, and I'm trying to work on it. So if you're new to astrology and you have questions, just leave me them in the comments down below. So yeah, and so synastry, of course, is an overlay between two people. It's when you put two individual charts, natal charts, on top of each other, and that creates basically a compatibility report. And like I said, it doesn't have to be romantic. In all my videos I say that, all my synastry videos I say that it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be friendship, business partnership, family, dynamic, everything. But in this video specifically, I'm probably going to be talking more about the romantic dynamic, because this is what I'm currently experiencing. So I'm going to use this video maybe just to let my own pent up energy about this out. That makes sense. So without that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so Moon in the 12th house in synastry. What this could possibly mean for you, for you all, for people, right? What this could possibly mean. Okay, so from my various experiences, I can tell you that, of course, with the first thing that I mentioned, that it causes a lot of feelings of confusion. There's might be a chronic feeling of a constant lack of clarity. And what's so interesting about the dynamic here is that the two people can be as honest as possible with each other, as open as possible. And one of the parties might still feel that there is something that was unspoken of, something that was unsaid, something that the other person is hiding from you. And many times it can just be that they're not telling you things very aggressively. Hence the confusion. It can be very frustrating, okay? And guys, I don't want to start with the negatives about this placement. I will mention the positives, so please bear with me, but I have to be honest in my videos, okay? I cannot sugarcoat. This overlay is very difficult, okay? If you just want me to sell your fantasy, this is not a video for you. I am not selling you guys fantasy. I'm selling you the truth, if I'm selling anything. So yes, so these various feelings for the most part always gonna remain there. And of course, along with the positive feelings, there's a lot of feelings of spiritual feeling spiritually connected with each other, having prophetic dreams about the other person, or both people dreaming of each other as well. There can be a lot of synchronicities going on, singing their initials, hearing their names, sometimes hearing their voice, and it's actually happened to me. I thought it's almost like in a little hallucination. Hallucinations also can be involved with moon in the 12th house in synastry, and 12th house synastry in general too. 12th house also rules hallucinations, so yeah. I actually once had sort of like a semi-hallucination. I thought I was hearing his voice outside. I thought this man I was involved with. I'm a heterosexual woman, so I'm speaking of my own experiences, but it goes for no matter what your orientation is. So the man that I was involved with, I once thought that I heard his voice outside of my window. It was totally surreal, never really happened to me before. The guy, it was actually my younger brother. His voice sounds nothing like this man's I was involved with. Yet, when I heard him, I was convinced it was the man. Never happened to me before. Very, very strange. Almost kind of terrifying because it can, it's because that was just one thing of many. And even the prophetic dreams, I had good prophetic dreams about him that manifested, and I had very bad dreams about him that manifested. Dreams that tried to warn me about future events. The first time I had prophetic dreams about this man that tried to warn me, that told me he might be a red flag in my life, were months baby, months away. And even though I have Mercury in my 12th house natally, so it's a thing for me to have prophetic dreams, but I never thought that those kinds of dreams would actually manifest. To this day, I'm quite shocked, honestly speaking. And it can be be very cautious with this placement, especially if there's 8th house involved too. Okay, the 8th, like this man I was involved with, his moon was in my 12th house and his Mars was in my 8th house. Okay, so this in and of itself was like double dangerous. And it can be very tricky because even if it's just a 12th house overlay by itself, with moon in a 12th house overlay, with this overlay, it can feel so addictive and so obsessive. You're completely obsessed with the other person that you feel like it's impossible to let go of. You daydream about the person all the time. Constant daydreaming, constantly. constantly daydreaming about them, having prophetic dreams about them, or just just random dreams about them. And I'm sorry, I thought I heard something, but okay. Something outside. And yeah, and it's very can be very nerve-wracking, because there's a lot of synchronicities going on. Like every time, like there's been times that, like, one of the synchronicities I had with this man, for example, I'll give you guys an example. I broke my foot in the winter this year, like at the beginning of the year. On the morning that happened, it was like 5 a.m. or like 6 a.m. on my way to work. I fell on the ice. I found out that same morning, that's when I found out that the day before, he cracked his... Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want this video to be flagged. Can I say it? Okay, I'm gonna say it in a way that it won't be flagged. He fell on his skull and damaged his head. Okay, I'm gonna say it in a way that I'm gonna try saying those things in a way that YouTube will not flag my channel. Yeah, he fell on his head, and his head cracked, damaged. Hope that's a good way to say it. Yeah, and he was severely injured. It wasn't just his head, his hands, and at the same time, like as me, as I was broke my foot. So it's and it wasn't. There was other things. Like when something would happen to me, it would happen to him too. It's like we were connected. Like it's like nothing else is overlay. Like now you feel like you connected to the person so much in every way possible, spiritually, physically, mentally, that so much so that you feel like you're destined to be with them. And regardless of the connection, you will feel either way like you're destined to be with them. Every time the house person can go vice versa, can go the other way. Sometimes the moon, okay? So if you're the moon, that's fine, that happens. So it's sometimes the moon. But in my case, I'm talking from my experience, the house person feels destined to be with the moon person. This is definitely a placement of somebody that idealizes the other person, okay? The house person can look at the moon person like a god, like an angel, okay? Like the moon person is their angel, like the savior that will save them. The house person might look up to the moon person like the answer to the prayer. So that's the person that's an angel sent from above. And mind you, a lot of this is subconscious, okay? Subconscious is key word here. The house person might not consciously think it, but that's what it does, this overlay. Every time we look at this man, I will feel like this I can't even explain it. I will feel this feeling of butterflies, and this feeling of complete like almost like God was talking to me through the person, or the universe was talking to me through the person, okay? God, the universe, whatever it is you believe in, but I was feeling like the universe, the stars was talking to me through this person. And there is such a spiritual connection. You feel like you can tell each other everything, okay? You feel like you can tell each other everything. You feel like the other person is your soulmate. There's a soulmate feeling. You feel, and it's so devastating when it doesn't work out. And many times, like in my case, it doesn't work out because it's and many times it will happen with this overlay. It creates a situation when there's unrequited love. Okay, because even though the other person might really care about you and enjoy your presence and feel connected to you, the love is not, that doesn't mean that the love is gonna be requited. And sometimes the confusion is mutual, and the other person might actually go through a period of like, I might be in love, or like, let's say if it's like in my case, if it's a man, if it's heterosexual, right? The man might be like, but the man might feel like one day, like the man might go through seasons where he thinks that he likes the lady so much, he likes the woman with this over, right? He likes the woman, like the house person. Oh, let's say I'm just gonna talk about it like in like a moon house. Like the moon person might go through seasons when they feel like they like the house person so much, like they might even love them one day because they feel so connected. And this is what's so frustrating, because the moon person might feel, oh my goodness, I have this connection with this person, they're so perfect for me, but they just can't love them back that way. Okay, and it's no one's fault, and usually there is no leading on with this overlay, because both people have this openness, have this beautiful connection where they can be completely open and honest with each other, and there's no deceit going on. However, one of the parties might feel deceitful, at least at some points. And I currently, the connection I had with this man, I ended it because it was me that I realized that I need to let go of this individual. I need to be free of him, because he is close to his own confusion, and he is, even though I realized that I need to let go of him, I realized that it wasn't his fault, okay? It's no one's fault, okay? It's not my fault and it's not his fault, okay? And many times the moon person might really feel for the house person, you know, they might feel very deeply for the house person, but it's not necessarily love that they're feeling, which is why it feels many times and is many times unrequited. That's why it manifests that way, okay? And that's why the confusion, that's really the origin of the confusion, because you feel like, how can they care, how they can feel so deeply with me, how we can talk that way with each other, only the way soulmates talk to, and not love me back. That it's very confusing, okay? So don't beat yourself up if you're confused about it. It took me a while, okay, to really understand it, but I've done and doing my own healing. And you need to forgive the other person, because there might be huge feelings of resentment. You really need to find a place to forgive the other person. And it's not completely true what they say forgive for yourself, but no, you just have to forgive. Sometimes you just have to forgive the other person for them, you know, because what this overlay will teach you, you know, at least if you're evolved like me, what this overlay will teach you is that just because the other person hurt you doesn't mean they did it on purpose, okay? Doesn't mean they're the bad guy in the scenario, okay? Just because you feel rejected doesn't mean the other person tried to make you feel that way, okay? Because they can't force themselves to love you, okay? This is a really important 12th house lesson here, okay? This is a really important lesson with this overlay, okay? The 12th house will teach you that, okay? So, you know, just do the work, retreat, you know, 12th house, it's a very 12th house thing to retreat. So maybe you need to retreat in order to forgive them, in order to heal. I'm currently just happen to be on a vacation when my second heartbreak from this man happened, and maybe something about the retreat. And I'm not gonna lie, I had some help. There was a person, a mentor of mine, that really helped me. to heal from this and taught me how to forgive this person. But either way, it doesn't matter. Whatever works for you, find it. But you have to do the work, okay? Yeah, because I know what this overlay does. It can make you feel tremendously rejected. It can make you feel tremendously unloved, unlovable. It can make you feel like you were a delusional fool this entire time. Like you were some... The feeling of disillusionment is so huge that you might just lash out on the other person just because of feeling of rejection, which is also something I've been through. But then when I was ready to do that closure, I had that closure with the man I was involved with, and I really feel like I'm ready to let them go. But you need to be willing to let it go, because I know it's easier said than done. Trust me, I used to be so angry when people would say that, but you really need to let it go. And I promise, once you're really willing to let this go, because it can feel impossible with this overlay, once you're willing to let this go and understand that this person wasn't the one, okay? I know it might feel like they were the one. It might feel very faded. And don't get me wrong, you had a wonderful connection. You might have had a wonderful connection with this person, very spiritual, very soulmate-like, but it doesn't... And you know what? I'll go as far as to say that they might have been your soulmate, but it still doesn't mean that you're destined to be with him. It doesn't mean they're the one. It doesn't mean that they're your spouse. It just means that you had a deep spiritual bond. That's what it means. That's where the soulmate connection feeling comes from, okay? And you can have, I'm talking from experience, you can have multiple soulmates in this lifetime, and not all of them need to be romantic. Or not all of them obviously have only one spouse, right? The one is a one for a reason. That's it. And who knows what can happen? Maybe in the future, maybe when you're settled down, you went into this person, and you'll be like... the person will be like a mirror to you of your past healing, and you might feel even like really grateful that you've had that. Because even with me, I'm still grateful for whatever good moments and spiritual bond I had with this man, and I'm so grateful that I had that. I never experienced that before on that level. So yeah. Okay, find the gratitude in it, but realize that you still need to let go, okay? Appreciate it while letting it go, okay? Realize that you need to let them go. I feel like it's not said enough, because I know people come here to this video and they want to hear all kinds of things that are just not good with this overlay. Trust me. There were people that told me what I didn't want to hear, okay? But that I needed to hear it, okay? Like there was this one lady, for example, and she told me, honey, you need to let him go. Let go of him. Release yourself from him. And she was absolutely right. And today I totally understand that it's what I needed to do, okay? Yes, it can be a very difficult overlay. Yeah. And sometimes it can, sometimes don't think that they never felt anything. If it's a romantic scenario, especially if it's like a heterosexual, like in my case, and you feel like that, like if you're a woman, you feel like that man never liked you, never was attracted to you, don't think that way necessarily, because many times, sometimes what can happen, and it's potentially what happened maybe in your case, maybe he was very attracted to you in the at first or at some season, and that attraction just faded. It happens sometimes with this overlay, okay? But it doesn't happen in a Uranus kind of way, like with the Uranus overlays, like personal to personal planets, it's like the person loses attraction like this and they disappear. No, because they will not disappear. That's the thing. They'll still be there, which is why it can be confusing. But yeah, so maybe he felt attraction towards you, maybe he liked you, maybe he had a crush on you, and that just faded. And maybe that just faded, but he might still, it might have faded, but he might still feel for you. He might still care about you. He might still see you as very valuable in his life, or he just feels like sometimes that can happen. Because of this deep spiritual bond, the person, one or two of the people involved can feel like the other can save them. So the saving, sometimes it's mutual. And I believe it happened to me with this gentleman I was involved with. But I think what happened is that we kind of were on and off. And I feel like the first time that I was involved with him, because he was literally, I was holding him while his voice was shaking and he was about to cry. He was crying out to me. And at the time, I believe, in retrospect, looking back, he needed some sort of saving from me. He needed me to provide him with a safe place, with some sort of saving. And I believe that even if it's just for that season or for that night, either way, bottom line is, he needed my saving. He needed my saving. In a way, it can feel like the other person is begging you to save them. They're not actually begging, but they're looking at you and they're begging you. They're begging, they're saving, like they're looking at you like, please save me, And that's what I believe happened with him in the first half of our relationship, situationship. He wanted me to save him. He was asking for me to save him, and I took his request. And then later on, I needed a saving, even though I feel like I always subconsciously needed saving, felt like I needed some saving from him. I provided the savior. I was the savior. I provided the role of the savior, right, at first, and then he was like that with me. Even though but that's like, in an intimate setting, right? Or at least and when I say intimacy, I don't mean sexual, I mean emotional intimacy, okay? It's very important to declare that, emotional intimacy. But overall, the saving part was really, I want to say, mutual throughout my entire relationship with him. Mutual. Because we would vent to each other. We were texting, we would vent to each other. I will vent to him, he will vent to me. He would be comforting me and I would comfort him. That's what I mean by saving. And generally speaking, it is true what they say, that sometimes it can feel like a doctor, like a therapist patient kind of thing. It can happen sometimes. It happened, I believe. It definitely can give that type of flavor. Yeah, definitely. But either way, both one of the people, and many times, like in our case, both people, like in my case, both people needs the saving in one way, shape, or form. Maybe in a different way. He needed saving from a different way that I had, but he needed that nonetheless. Still. Okay, so this video is going to be 30 minutes and I would like to not have it longer than that. So the last thing I will say is that, and it was something I haven't mentioned, it's really important. One of the parties, what can also many times happen with this overlay, one of the parties, it's many times this overlay many times happens when a person is in love with an unavailable person. Like one of the people might be taken, and they either have a secret affair or a secret crush that doesn't turn into anything else, or they have a secret crush and then they have a secret affair. And maybe none of them is taken and it's just secret in general, because this is a very private energy overlay. So maybe you prefer to be private, and it's actually better because it's such a sensitive and placement energy-wise, that you actually don't want too many people in your business, because people might want this relationship to not happen. So be careful, be private if you can. That's also another suggestion of mine. And yeah, and of course, needless to say, if one of the people is unavailable, don't do it. Even though I'm hypocritical because I didn't mention that. That's last thing I'm gonna mention about my situation with this man. He was taken, but it was needless to say complicated, because he was in a very unstable relationship with a woman and he has let me know, and I've seen enough evidence that the relationship is also like very unstable, very like it can get even abusive. They would fight a lot. They have a Mars square Pluto in their own synastry chart. So, but that's besides the point. Of course, it's not like an excuse. Like I'm not, you should never be involved with an unavailable man. So don't learn that from me, because I know he was unavailable, but what I will say is that I was so in love with him. You don't understand. Like, I was so in love. I was so in love with him that I found myself involved and dragged into a love triangle with him. I was basically the third party in his relationship with her. That's something I never thought would happen to me in my life, because it's not who I am. But this is something it will do to you, this overlay. It can make you oversee the red flag, overlook the red flags, overlook everything. It's like I said, the false person feels destined to be with the moon person. Destined, like I'm the one for you. It's so intense, I can't even begin. The yearning is so intense for the other person, you can't say no. You really can't say no. You feel like you can't reject that. Yeah, but lesson learned. From now on, it's something this overlay has taught me. I will never be with an unavailable man anymore in my life after dealing with this man. Because they're always gonna have that other person in their mind, okay? That's what you do. You don't want to be a second choice. You deserve to be someone's first choice. And that man actually told me that. That's the thing, though. He didn't use me. He didn't do anything. He even told me that I deserve better, that I deserve to be someone's first choice, and he was very like honest about it too. Yeah, but I will say, and that's like the irony with this, because we were, even though we had this openness and a deep spiritual bond, there was still deceit going on, and it manifested in the way that, and I said it in the first in my other video about this placement. The first time, because we met at work, I met him at work, and the first time I ever worked with him, the first thing he ever told me was a lie. Even though it was like an inside joke, it was like a private, it was like an inside joke at the workplace. The first thing he ever told me was a lie nonetheless. He told me he has a son that was born when he was 14 because he had an affair with a girl who was 19. And I, of course, find out it's not true. He doesn't have a son, but he does have a boy that he babysits regularly, that he knows since he was little. But he used him babysitting that boy to tell this lie, basically, to tell this, silly joke that he has a son. And yeah, it's, that can also happen, but it's one of his many lies, honestly. Because even though, and that's also sometimes what can be that's hence the confusion and the constant feeling of fog, okay? And that's really the last thing I'm gonna say, because this video is getting long. There can be a constant feeling of fog, and for that it can be more endless reasons. So it doesn't even matter what the reason is. That's something I understood, because the person, you can be dealing with a liar, even a narcissistic liar, but still have deep spiritual bond and an openness, and that's one way one hell of a way to cause confusion, because you'll be like, how can this man open me so bad, open his heart out to me? I really see him, I can tell it's him, and it's him, it really is. But then also be this narcissistic liar. And this is, I'm saying it for the expression of this, for the sake of the expression of this video, because like I said, I forgave that man. But yeah, and it really can be. And in a way, both people can be emotionally sick, because he's emotionally sick and moped in his own way too. Yeah, there's a lot of healing need to be done for both people, most likely. But yeah, but it's usually one that needs to let go of the other. But yeah, really, that's all there is to it. I think I said everything. I might have forgot a few things, but you know, let me know if this resonated, and if you want a part 2 of this video, or part 3, because it's gonna be the 3rd video, whatever. Just let me know if you want more videos like this, and what kind of videos you also want me to make in the near future, or in the future. And yeah, both parties can be confused with this overlay, let me tell you, because he was confused in his own way, and you will admit to each other that you're confused, because he was actually admitted to me quite multiple times that he's feeling confused and lost, in like, generally speaking. It's like, I don't know what I want, you know what I mean? From one, like, yeah, like, because on one hand he has this complicated relationship with that woman he's with for 2 years, but he also like confused as hell, which is why I can blame him. It's not, you know, no one is at fault, you know, it's no one's fault, it's not our fault, you know. Yeah, so I was confused in my own way, he was confused, both people can be confused with this overlay, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, so leave a like. I think I've said it all for now. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and please, if you like this video and if you like my channel and my content, please leave a donation in one of the links down below. I would deeply appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.